The warning signals cascaded through the Zarin Empire's detection grid like ripples in a pond. Deep in the heart of the celestial monitoring station, Chief Observer Vax Nil's crystalline appendages trembled as she processed the readings. The object approaching their space was unlike anything their sensors had encountered in the 1,000 cycles of the Empire's existence. "Impossible," she whispered, her bioluminescent patches pulsing with anxiety. "The mass readings cannot be correct." But the numbers didn't lie. The vessel entering their space was larger than their greatest city ships, its energy signature dwarfing their most powerful reactors. The Zarin Empire had long prided itself on its peaceful expansion through the stars. Their species, evolved from crystal-based life forms, had developed technology that worked in harmony with the natural universe. Their ships were elegant, trailing streams of solar energy as they glided between the stars. They had never needed to build weapons of war. Their philosophy of mutual growth and shared prosperity had served them well in their encounters with other spacefaring races. Until now. High Commander Ixal stood before the Emergency Council, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's light in patterns that reflected his disturbed state. "The vessel has crossed the outer boundary of the luminous sector," he reported, his voice resonating through the chamber's crystalline walls. "It's maintaining a steady course toward our core systems." The council members' forms flickered with shared anxiety. Their race communicated as much through light patterns as through words, and right now, the chamber was a chaos of frightened pulses. "Have they responded to our greeting transmissions?" asked Elder Cyrix, her ancient form glowing with the wisdom of centuries. "They have acknowledged receipt," Ixal confirmed, but their response was unexpected. He activated the holographic display, showing a simple message in universal code: UNSS HYPRIO. WREQUE staying diplomatic CONTAT, maintaining CURRENT course. The council chamber erupted in a cascade of light patterns. The audacity, or perhaps confidence, of this unknown species to simply continue their approach while requesting diplomacy was unprecedented. Meanwhile, aboard the United Nations starship Hyperion, Captain Sarah Chen watched the alien empire's reactions with careful interest. The massive ship's sensors picked up everything: the frantic communications, the movement of their defensive fleet, the energy signatures of their worlds. "They're scared," observed her first officer, Commander James Rodriguez, standing at her side on the bridge. "Wouldn't you be?" Chen replied, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. "We're flying the largest ship humanity has ever built into their territory. The Hyperion was designed to demonstrate our technological capabilities, but right now she's probably looking like the biggest threat they've ever seen." The Hyperion had been purpose-built for this mission. After decades of observing the Zarin Empire from afar, humanity had decided it was time for contact. But they knew their history of surviving on a high-gravity, high-radiation death world had given them a very different approach to technology and survival. Where the Zarin ships were elegant solar sailors, the Hyperion was a titanium mountain forged in the shipyards of Mars, powered by an artificial quantum singularity. Where their technology sought harmony with the universe, human technology bent physics to its will through sheer force of engineering. "Sir," called out Lieutenant Park from the sensor station, "they're moving a defensive fleet into position, counting at least 50 vessels, arranged in a barrier formation between us and their core worlds." Chen nodded. It was exactly what she'd expected. "No aggressive posturing," she ordered. "Keep our weapons powered down but shields at maximum. Let's show them we respect their space while making it clear we can protect ourselves." The Hyperion continued its steady advance, its massive form dwarfing the Zarin vessels that now surrounded it. In the Empire's council chamber, the tactical displays showed just how outmatched their fleet was. A single human vessel could likely withstand everything they could throw at it. "We must make a decision," Elder Cyrix announced, her glow steady and calm despite the crisis. "This species has the power to destroy us, yet they come offering diplomacy. Their very existence challenges everything we believe about technological progress and harmony with the universe. The question before us is not whether we should talk to them, but whether we are ready to accept that our understanding of the universe might be incomplete. The council chamber fell silent, the anxious light patterns fading as her words sank in. They had achieved peace through harmony, but these humans had achieved something else: mastery through understanding. It was frightening, yes, but also fascinating. High Commander Ixel's form pulsed with determination. "I volunteer to lead the diplomatic reception," he announced. "If they wanted to destroy us, they could have done so already. Instead, they're showing us something new. Power can coexist with peace." The council's approval rippled through the chamber in waves of light. As the Hyperion approached its designated holding position, both species prepared for a meeting that would change their understanding of life in the universe forever. The diplomatic reception chamber aboard the Zarin Central Station was a marvel of crystalline architecture. Sweeping arches of living crystal pulsed with soft light, creating an atmosphere that would normally inspire calm and contemplation. Today, however, the chamber crackled with tension as the station's docking sensors announced the arrival of the human shuttle. High Commander Ixel stood with his diplomatic team, their crystalline forms arranged in the traditional pattern of peaceful welcome. Around them, hidden security measures hummed quietly. Not that they expected such measures would do much good if the humans proved hostile. The airlock cycled, and the Zarin delegation experienced their first shock. The humans were smaller than expected. Captain Sarah Chen led her team into the chamber, her diplomatic uniform crisp and formal, her movements precise but relaxed. Behind her came Commander Rodriguez and Dr. Emily Wong, the expedition's xenoanthropologist. "Greetings, representatives of the Zarin Empire," Chen said, her words translated by the advanced AI system they'd brought. "We come in peace and friendship, seeking to build bridges between our civilizations." Ixel's crystalline form shimmered as he processed the sight before him. These humans, these builders of the mighty Hyperion, were soft-bodied creatures not much taller than a young Zarin. Yet there was something about their bearing, a quiet confidence that spoke of hidden strength. "We welcome you in the light of understanding," Ixel responded, his own translator converting his resonant tones into human speech. "Though we must admit, your arrival has caused great uncertainty among our people." Chen smiled, a gesture that caused subtle ripples of concern among the Zarins, as they weren't yet familiar with human expressions. "We anticipated this reaction," she said. "It's why we chose to come with only one ship, despite the risks of entering unknown space alone." This casual mention of risk caused Ixel's form to flicker with surprise. "You consider your vessel insufficient for defense." Dr. Wong stepped forward slightly, her expertise in xenodiplomacy coming into play. "What Captain Chen means is that we chose to demonstrate both our technological capabilities and our peaceful intentions simultaneously. The Hyperion is indeed a powerful vessel, but it's also a symbol of human achievement and our desire to reach out to new civilizations." As the initial formalities continued, both sides were carefully observing each other. The humans were fascinated by the Zarin's crystalline biology, the way their bodies seemed to shift and pulse with internal light. The Zarins, in turn, were struggling to reconcile the apparent fragility of human forms with the overwhelming power of their technology. The meeting moved to a broader discussion of their respective civilizations. Dr. Wong presented an overview of human history, carefully edited to emphasize cooperation and achievement, while acknowledging their species' capacity for both creation and destruction. The Zarins were particularly struck by humanity's rapid technological advancement. "You achieved faster than light travel only 3 centuries after discovering powered flight," Elder Syrinx asked, her ancient form trembling with astonishment. "Such speed of development seems dangerous." "Necessity drove much of our advancement," Chen explained. "Earth, our homeworld, presented us with many challenges. We had to adapt quickly or perish. Each solution we found led to new questions, new problems to solve." Ixal's form pulsed with a pattern that the human translators interpreted as deep concern. Yet your ship, the Hyperion, its power source appears to defy the natural order. Our sensors detect what seems to be a controlled singularity. Commander Rodriguez nodded, his expression serious. The quantum singularity drive is one of our proudest achievements. We learned to harness the fundamental forces of the universe itself. This statement sent waves of disturbance through the Zarin delegation. Their entire philosophy was built around working within the natural order, not dominating it. The humans represented something entirely new, a species that had evolved not by finding harmony with the universe, but by learning to reshape it to their will. As the meeting progressed, Dr. Wong noticed something interesting. Despite their obvious concerns, the Zarins were showing signs of curiosity. Their light patterns, which she was beginning to understand, indicated not just fear, but also fascination. Perhaps, she suggested during a brief recess, we could offer a cultural exchange. A small team of Zarin scientists could visit the Hyperion, while we learn more about your remarkable biotechnology. The proposal sparked an intense debate among the Zarin delegation, their forms creating complex patterns of light as they communicated in their native fashion. Finally, Ixal stepped forward. "We accept this proposal," he announced, his form glowing with what seemed to be determination. "Though your ways are different from ours, we cannot deny that there is much we could learn from each other." However, he added, his light patterns shifting to a more serious configuration, "we must ask, what do humans ultimately seek from this contact?" Captain Chen's response was carefully measured. Knowledge, understanding, and perhaps, in time, friendship. We humans have learned that the greatest achievements come not from working alone, but from combining different perspectives and abilities. Your civilization has mastered biotechnology in ways we never imagined possible. We've developed other technologies that you might find equally remarkable. Together, we might achieve things neither of us could manage alone. The chamber fell silent save for the subtle humming of the crystal walls. In that moment, both species recognized they stood at a crossroads, one that could lead either to a remarkable partnership or a dangerous rivalry. The crisis began during the third day of diplomatic talks. Captain Chen was in the middle of explaining Earth's climate restoration projects when the emergency alert resonated through the crystal walls of the station. The Zarin delegate's light patterns shifted to intense frequencies that the human translators interpreted as extreme distress. "Gravitational anomaly detected in the Lyra sector," announced a Zarin controller, their form pulsing with urgent patterns. The colony world of Crystallis Prime reports severe tectonic disturbances. Elder Cyrix's ancient form dimmed with horror. Crystallis Prime. There are 8 million colonists there. It's our largest settlement outside the core systems. The tactical display showed the situation in stark detail. A previously dormant quantum filament in space had become active, its gravitational effects threatening to tear the crystal planet apart. The Zarin ships in the sector were evacuating as many colonists as possible, but their vessels, designed for harmony rather than raw power, were struggling against the increasing gravitational forces. Captain Chen stepped forward, her decision made before the Zarins could even ask for help. "The Hyperion can assist. Our quantum singularity drive gives us unique experience with gravitational phenomena." High Commander Ixal's form flickered with a mixture of hope and hesitation. "Your vessel is powerful, yes, but this is a natural phenomenon. Our philosophy teaches us to accept and adapt to the universe's will, not to fight it." "With respect," Commander Rodriguez interjected, bringing up detailed scans on his portable quantum computer, "this isn't about fighting nature, it's about protecting lives. The Hyperion's drive system can potentially stabilize the quantum filament long enough to complete the evacuation." Dr. Wong, who had been quietly observing the Zarin's light patterns, added, "Sometimes, the most harmonious action is to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Isn't that also part of the natural order?" The Zarin Council erupted in a cascade of light patterns, their debate visible in the swirling colors of their crystalline forms. Time was running out. The latest data showed the planet's crystal core beginning to fracture under the gravitational stress. Finally, Elder Cyrix's voice cut through the chaos. "We accept your help, humans, not because we abandon our principles, but because we recognize that sometimes the universe sends aid in unexpected forms." The Hyperion's response was immediate. Captain Chen was transported back to her ship via quantum teleporter, another technology that made the Zarins deeply uncomfortable, and within minutes, the massive human vessel was accelerating toward Crystallos Prime at speeds that the Zarin ships couldn't match. During the journey, Chen assembled a joint human-Zarin task force. The Zarin scientists, despite their philosophical reservations, were fascinated by the Hyperion's technology. They worked with the human engineers to develop a plan that would respect their beliefs while saving their people. "The quantum filament's resonance pattern is similar to your crystalline technology," Lieutenant Park observed, studying the data alongside a Zarin scientist named Telvar. "If we combine your harmonic principles with our gravitational control systems..." Telvar's form brightened with sudden understanding. "Yes, we could create a resonance field that would guide the filament's energy rather than fighting it directly." The Hyperion arrived at Crystallos Prime to find a scene of celestial chaos. The quantum filament's effects were visible as rippling distortions in space, while the crystal planet's surface showed spreading fracture patterns that glowed with disturbing intensity. Zarin ships darted through the chaos like luminous insects, each one packed with evacuees. Captain Chen took command of the situation with calm efficiency. "Deploy graviton anchors," she ordered. "Begin quantum resonance sequence based on the Zarin harmonics. Commander Rodriguez, coordinate with the Zarin fleet for maximum evacuation coverage." The Hyperion's intervention transformed the rescue operation. Its powerful shields extended protection to the smaller Zarin vessels, allowing them to operate in areas they couldn't have reached otherwise. The combined human-Zarin resonance field began to stabilize the quantum filament, buying precious time for the evacuation. But saving everyone would still be impossible with the available ships. Then Telvar made a suggestion that shocked his fellow Zarins. The Hyperion's quantum teleporters. Could they be modified to transport large groups? "The power requirements would be enormous," Lieutenant Park replied, "and we'd need to adjust for your crystalline biology." But he looked at Captain Chen, who nodded grimly. "Divert power from all non-essential systems," she ordered. "Prepare for mass quantum transport." What followed was an operation unprecedented in either species' history. The Hyperion's engineers worked frantically to modify their teleporter systems, while Zarin scientists helped attune the quantum fields to their people's unique biology. As the planet's crystal core approached critical failure, thousands of Zarin colonists were teleported directly to safety aboard the human vessel and the waiting Zarin ships. The evacuation pushed both human technology and Zarin adaptation to their limits, but it succeeded. When the last colonist was safely aboard, the combined fleet retreated to a safe distance. They watched as Crystallos Prime, unable to withstand the quantum filament's forces, shattered in a spectacular display of crystalline fragments and energy. In the aftermath, both species found themselves reevaluating their initial judgments of each other. The humans had demonstrated that their powerful technology could be used with precision and care, while the Zarins had shown that their commitment to harmony didn't prevent them from taking bold action when necessary. In the days following the evacuation of Crystallos Prime, the Hyperion's massive cargo bays had been transformed into temporary crystal gardens to house the Zarin refugees. The ship's environmental systems, originally designed for human comfort, had been modified to create conditions that resonated with Zarin biology. The sight of human crew members working alongside their crystalline guests had become commonplace. Captain Chen stood in the observation deck with Elder Cyrix, watching the rescued Zarins adapt their crystalline growth patterns to create living spaces within the human vessel. The contrast was striking. Organic crystal structures growing within the geometric precision of human engineering. "Your people continue to surprise us," Syrinx said, her form glowing with thoughtful patterns. "When we first saw the Hyperion, we thought you were beings of pure technological might, perhaps even unable to comprehend our ways. Yet here you are, adapting your mighty warship into a garden." Chen smiled, having learned that the Zerans were becoming more comfortable with human expressions. "The Hyperion was never just a warship, Elder. We built her to be adaptable, because that's what humanity does best. We adapt, we learn, we grow, just like your crystals, but in our own way." On the engineering deck, Lieutenant Park and Telvar had continued their collaboration, studying the data from the quantum filament incident. Their work had revealed something unexpected. The combination of human graviton technology and Zeran harmonic principles had created effects that neither species had thought possible. "Look at these resonance patterns," Telvar exclaimed, his crystalline form brightening with excitement. "When your graviton field synchronized with our harmonic frequencies, it didn't just contain the quantum filament, it actually stabilized its underlying structure." Park nodded enthusiastically. "And the way your crystal technology responded to our quantum fields, it's like they were made to work together. We've been approaching the same universal principles from completely different directions." The discovery sparked a wave of collaborative research. Human scientists were fascinated by the Zeran's ability to grow technology rather than build it, while Zeran researchers began to see how human methods of harnessing natural forces could enhance their own harmonic technologies. Commander Rodriguez found himself giving tours to groups of young Zerans, their crystalline forms glowing with curiosity as he explained human engineering principles. "Yes, our methods might seem aggressive compared to yours," he acknowledged during one such tour. "But look here, our quantum core doesn't just force energy to do what we want. It creates a controlled space where natural laws can be directed, much like your crystal gardens shape the flow of light and energy." The Zerans were particularly intrigued by the ship's medical bay, where Dr. Wong had been working with Zaran healers to treat those injured during the evacuation. The combination of human medical technology and Zaran crystal healing techniques had produced remarkable results. "It's all about balance," Dr. Wong explained to High Commander Ixel during an inspection. "Your crystal healing works by encouraging natural regeneration. Our medical nanites can be programmed to resonate with your harmonic frequencies, enhancing the healing process without disrupting it." Ixel's form pulsed with understanding. Perhaps that is what we needed to learn from each other, not to abandon our ways, but to find new harmonies between them. The refugee crisis had forced both species to move beyond their initial preconceptions. Humans learned to appreciate the subtle elegance of Zaran crystal technology, while the Zerans began to see that human engineering, despite its apparent brute force, contained its own kind of harmony. In the ship's main conference room, now modified with crystal resonators to facilitate Zaran communication, Captain Chen met with the combined Human-Zaran Council. The display showed plans for a joint settlement project, a new home for the refugees that would incorporate both species' technologies. "We propose to establish the colony on Novus Crystallos," Chen explained, showing detailed scans of a promising planet. Its unique magnetic field properties would support both crystal growth and our graviton technology. It could be more than just a replacement for what was lost. It could be a symbol of what we can achieve together. The Zaran representatives' light patterns shifted through complex harmonies as they studied the proposal. The planet's conditions were indeed ideal, but more importantly, the project represented a true fusion of their philosophies. The planned settlement would use human engineering to create a foundation, upon which Zaran crystal architecture could grow naturally. "There's something else," Commander Rodriguez added, bringing up new technical data. "Our studies of the quantum filament incident suggest that a network of combined human-Zaran monitoring stations could predict and prevent similar disasters in the future. We could protect both our peoples while maintaining the natural balance you value." Elder Cyrix's ancient form glowed with a warm, steady light. "When your ship first appeared in our space, we feared you would disrupt the harmony we had built over millennia. Instead, you have shown us that there is harmony in diversity, in the meeting of different paths that lead to the same truth. As the meeting continued, both species recognized that they stood at the beginning of something unprecedented. The crisis had forced them to work together, but what they had discovered in the process was far more valuable than either had anticipated. It wasn't just about combining technologies or sharing resources. It was about expanding their understanding of what was possible when different approaches to universal truth worked in concert rather than conflict. 1 year after the Hyperion's arrival in Zarin space, the skyline of Novus Christos told a story of unprecedented cooperation. Crystal spires grew alongside human engineering marvels, their forms intertwining in ways that would have seemed impossible months ago. The new colony had become more than just a refuge. It was a testament to what could be achieved when different approaches to understanding the universe worked in harmony. Captain Chen stood on the observation platform of the newly completed Harmony Tower, the first structure to fully integrate both species' technologies. Beside her, Elder Cyrix's crystalline form reflected the light of the setting sun, creating patterns that Chen had learned to read as contentment. "The Council has approved the Alliance Charter," Cyrix announced, her voice resonating through the crystal-enhanced communication systems. "All 17 Zarin worlds have voted in favor of formal partnership with humanity." Chen nodded, remembering the long negotiations that had led to this moment. Earth's parliament ratified it this morning. The United Human Zarin Cooperative is now official. Below them, the city buzzed with activity. Human engineers worked alongside Zarin crystal shapers, their different methods complementing each other in ways that continued to surprise both species. The quantum harmonic power grid they had developed together provided more energy than either species' technology could generate alone, while consuming fewer resources. In the research district, the Joint Scientific Academy had made breakthrough after breakthrough. Telvar and Lieutenant Park's team had developed a new form of faster-than-light travel, combining human quantum manipulation with Zarin crystal harmonics. The first test ships could travel twice as far as previous vessels, while leaving barely a ripple in the fabric of space. Sometimes, Commander Rodriguez observed, joining them on the platform, "I wonder what would have happened if we'd chosen to send a smaller ship for first contact. If we hadn't arrived in a way that forced both our peoples to confront their assumptions about each other." "The universe has its own harmony," Cyrix replied, her form shifting to patterns of philosophical reflection. "Perhaps it knew that both our species needed to be shocked out of our comfortable certainties. We had grown too confident in our way of seeing things, just as humans might have been too confident in their technological power." The Hyperion still orbited above them, but it had changed as much as the relationship between the two species. Its hull now incorporated Zarin crystal technology, allowing it to sense and navigate spatial conditions with unprecedented precision. The refugee gardens in its cargo bays had been transformed into permanent research facilities, where both species studied the potential of their combined technologies. High Commander Ixel, whose initial fear of human power had transformed into deep respect, had established a joint defense initiative. The Zarin Empire had never needed significant military forces before, but the universe was vast and not always peaceful. Human protective instincts and Zarin harmony-seeking nature proved to be a powerful combination in developing defensive systems that could prevent conflict rather than just respond to it. "The quantum filament monitoring network is now complete," Ixel reported, his form glowing with pride as he joined the group. "We've already detected and stabilized 3 potential anomalies that could have threatened populated systems. What once would have been disasters are now simply natural phenomena we can guide and control." Dr. Wang, who had become the leading expert in human Zarin cultural integration, arrived with the latest data from the colony's success metrics. "The birth rate among the Crystal Gardens has increased by 30%, she announced. "The Zarin elders believe it's because the human quantum fields are actually strengthening their natural growth patterns. We're not just coexisting, we're helping each other thrive." As night fell, the city's crystalline structures began their evening luminescence, their light synchronized with human-designed plasma arrays to create displays that combine mathematical precision with organic beauty. The site had become famous throughout both human and Zeran space, drawing visitors from across the known galaxy. "You know what impresses me most," Chen said, watching the light show. "A year ago, we were two species who thought we had nothing in common. The Zerans saw us as dangerous because we fought against nature's forces. We saw you as limited because you refused to exert control over your environment. We were both wrong, and we were both right." Cyrix's form resonated with agreement. "Humans taught us that sometimes the most harmonious action is to actively shape our destiny. We taught you that the greatest control comes from working with natural forces rather than against them. Together, we've become more than either of us could have been alone." The night sky above Novus Crystallos was filled with the lights of ships from both civilizations, their designs now incorporating elements from both cultures. Each vessel represented thousands of individual decisions to trust, to learn, to grow beyond comfortable boundaries. The human drive to explore and master their environment had found its perfect complement in the Zeran dedication to harmony and balance. As the gathered leaders looked out over their shared achievement, they knew this was just the beginning. Other species would eventually encounter their alliance, and they too would have to confront their preconceptions about how civilizations should develop and interact with the universe. But now they had a model to follow, one that proved strength and harmony, progress and balance, change and stability could not only coexist, but flourish together. The story of the Hyperion's arrival in Zeran space became legend in both cultures, taught to children as the moment when two fundamentally different approaches to understanding the universe learned they were simply different paths to the same destination. It was a reminder that true strength lies not in power alone, nor in pure harmony, but in the wisdom to know when to apply each and the courage to learn from those who are different from ourselves.